Hi there, my name's Simon and welcome to another episode of the Maserati Guy. So today we're going to have a look at the cockpit of the GranTurismo, and I thought I'd just take you through a little bit of a tour of the various controls, starting with the steering wheel. So you can see, as pretty standard, we've got volume controls up and down. We have track seek for the CD or the MP3 files. This SRC button changes the source of the in-car entertainment. This is a mute button. It's quite useful. We'll just mute any sound that's coming out of the entertainment system. This button we can use to answer telephone calls or drop telephone calls. This button is for speech recognition, so you can give voice commands for various functions. I'm going to do another video on that functionality separately because it's something that I've never really got into, but other people might be interested in using it. On this side of the controls, we have the controls for the lights. Obviously, we've got automatic function here. We've got standard side lights and dipped beams. This row of controls across here, we have park sensor controls. This opens the boot remotely. Petrol cap. These two buttons here control the brightness of the LCD display in the middle. This mode button changes the display mode of the central display in the instrument cluster. So here we have the standard one showing a rev counter, so red line counter and gear. This is the trip counter, got two different trip counters. Tire pressure monitoring, seat heater status for left and right. This is your options screen. RPM indicator, which is the kind of red line indicator, and that's your tire pressure calibration, and then back to the main display. Behind the steering wheel you have your standard windscreen wiper controls, automatic 1 and 2. This control here adjusts the automatic setting, all fairly standard. As you can see, on this side we have the up paddle. On the other side, obviously, we have the down paddle. This control here is for your cruise control. You turn your cruise control on and off by rotating this, and you can increase or decrease the speed using this toggle switch here. This is also the indicator, obviously, as well. On the rear of the steering wheel, there is also another set of buttons here. Not sure if you can see that. They also control up and down folders and tracks in the CDs. Kind of duplicates the enter and select button in the middle there. Obviously you've got your standard fuel gauge on the left, speedometer, information panel, then you've got your rev counter and your engine water temperature. Moving across to the center console, we have the nice analog clock, which is actually not linked to the clock in the central display, so you have to set them separately, which is kind of weird. This is your main infotainment display with your infotainment controls. Before I get on to that, I'll just go through these buttons here. We have the sport button, which basically opens the exhaust valves, and in manual mode it will put it into the faster MC shift mode for higher speed shifting or faster shifting above 5,000 RPM. This button selects between automatic and manual on the gearbox. The default is automatic. As I said in my previous video on this subject, I think the default should really be manual. So normally the electronic parking brake is automatic, but this allows you to turn off that automated function if you wish. This is the electronic stability program. Press and hold to turn off, and a quick press to turn back on again. This is the standard pre-2017 navigation and infotainment system. We have a source button for selecting the input, a mode button for the screen, waveband selection here. We have a keypad for direct entry of phone numbers, which can be quite useful. Various navigation controls across here, audio settings here. This button takes you into the menu screen, which allows you to adjust parameters for navigation, the map, traffic information if your country supports it, audio functions, telephone, configuration of the car, and setting various functions on the trip computer. I can show you different modes on this screen. Shows the Bluetooth status. This one shows the input, which is currently set to auxiliary. Then we have the map view, and then back to the trip computer. Heading further down, these are your air conditioning and climate control functions. Basically, if you put it in auto, it will do everything by itself. You've got up and down for temperature. Manual control of the fan is here. Mono means that both sides are controlled together. So if you have mono, then changing one will change both. If you turn off the mono setting, you can set this one separately. So it's just dual zone or single zone. Down further we have the hazard indicators, lock and unlock. And finally in this area we come to the gear shift controls. So the one button basically puts it into forward gear from neutral. Reverse puts it into reverse, obviously. Pulling both paddles on the steering wheel together will put it into neutral. You can actually put it into first gear just by pulling the up paddle, so you don't really need to press that one button at all. In here we have a little ashtray with a socket for, I've got a phone charger in there. On this side we have the parking brake, the electric parking brake, and this control here, the ICE, is just simply it limits the RPM of the engine just in slippery conditions, so you don't get excessive torque and brake traction. I have this Belkin Bluetooth device connected. I'll put a link to that video above. This basically just goes through the middle of the center console here and into the glove compartment, which I'll show you, where there is a USB port and an auxiliary input. You can actually connect an iPod to that that USB port and it will transmit data, but for modern iPods that use Bluetooth and iPhones, you're much better off using a Bluetooth adapter. Well, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that tour around the cockpit of the GranTurismo. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to give the like a click. Maybe consider subscribing, that would be great. You can follow me on Instagram at Maserati Guy 2017, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.